What is going on, everybody? How you doing? Johnny O from the Plot Hole. Hope all is well. It has been, I don't know, a couple of weeks since I've been here, so I figured I'd come and check it on you, see how everybody's doing. How are you all doing? Hope fantastic. Hope you're having an amazing week, amazing month. It's been hot as it's been unbelievably hot here in the good old state of Texas. Um, Last week I was out on a shoot that was all outdoors in the middle of the heat, in the middle of the day, from about, well, call times range anywhere from 6:30 in the morning to 7:30 at night to noon to 1 o'clock in the morning. It was crazy, and I'm talking hot, not like, oh, it's uncomfortable, like melting. Like we lost one person to heat stroke, or heat exhaustion, not official stroke, but they did put them on fluids. It was insane. It was crazy, but it was very, very warm. So I hope most of you are avoiding this ridiculous heat. And when I got back, suddenly, I guess somebody left some fruit out. Now we have freaking fruit flies and gnats everywhere, so I'm having to deal with that. So if you see little things flying around, that's what they are. We've got bait, we got traps, we got all kinds of stuff out. We've done whatever it is we need to do to the sinks, and we cleaned up more, and it's like the plague. So good to see all of you, by the way. I see all of you in the side chats there. It scrolls up and down over here. I can see, I promise. Mystery Offset Theater says, ooh, I love Union Matters. We're going to get into that because it does affect what I do personally. Well, not personally, but I guess personally, whatever. It affects my business, so we will get into that. Dad farted. I did not. Right now. Hello, good to see you. Tony Regime, good to see you. Nakoti says, Guten Tag. And then we have J-Dub, who celebrates 8 months of being a Plot Hole crew member with his tridents, because we're all evil tridents and some finger guns. That's right. Thank you so much for that support. Appreciate it. Elizabeth S. Good to see Elizabeth, good to see you. Roisin, it's been a minute. Look at you. There's a lot of words there in Gaelic, I'm assuming. I don't understand Gaelic. I don't speak Gaelic, and you guys can attempt that for yourself. Pope Phil the First, good to see you. Let's see here. Mrs. Schrodinger's cat is in the house. It is always good to see you, Mr. Schrodinger's cat. Let's see here. Did I miss anybody? Not yet. That's cool. That's all right. Brian Powell says, flying an air show tomorrow. That is cool. So you actually fly. What do you fly, Brian? I'm curious. Sandy D, good to see you. 113 in Vegas. Yeah, it's crazy. It was 110 today. I think the heat index was around 115 to 117, give or take. So, yeah, ridiculous. Sandy D, good to see you. Beautiful 81 degrees today. What? Where are you at, Sandy D? I need to be there and not here, because it's not even, it's still 97, and it's 9 o'clock at night, and it's still 97 degrees outside. It's crazy. Dave Malik, good to see you. Omni Oros Burrow says, and they say gnomes don't exist. I am not a gnome. I am a troll. Okay? Big difference. Arian Rod, good to see you. It's Irish. Isn't it Irish and Gaelic? It's the same thing, though, right? Or it's very similar. Not the same. I don't want to be insulting. I'm not trying to be funny. But they're similar, correct, Roisin? Gaelic. Yeah. Yes. Not Gaelic, but what? Isn't it the same? Or am I high? I could be high. I mean, I don't do drugs, but I could be high. Vanguard Chill says, hello, good to see you. Charlie Welch in the house. Yo, Johnny O, good to see you. Indiana, I'm coming to Indiana. My goodness. 24 degrees Celsius in North Canada. That's warm. Mystery Soft. See, there's this damn Troes. It's not the same. Okay, good. Not the same. Brian, you flying P-51D model Mustang? That is fucking cool. I don't care who you are. That is fucking cool. I wish I could do that, but I have terrible inner ear, and I even thinking about getting on a plane makes me sick. 74 and oh man, dang it! All you guys are it's so nice where you are. It's hot here. It won't cool off until like November. I've got another shoot. Skits Crasher, good to see you. I got another shoot coming up in end of September through October. No, all of September, beginning of September through the beginning of October. That's going to be in Houston, and it's still going to be ridiculously hot. It's going to be insane. I don't like it. I don't like the heat. I'm not built. I mean, I'm fat. I'm not built for 110 degree weather. 69 in Michigan. Golly, I want to be in Michigan. You guys. So what's been going down in everybody's lives, man? How's everybody doing? I have missed a lot. Apparently, there's a whole mess of shit going on with everybody's favorite side dish. Um, I hear good old DeCastro has not been faring so well in his court cases. I hear Nevada said, "Get fucked. We don't want anything to do with you." See, Arian Ron says 86 North Carolina. I would take that. Peter Case has dropped down to 98 last hour, so nice and cool now. Yeah. Bullshit. That's still high. Where's that little guy? You all know who I'm talking about. That guy, that little kid. Bullshit. Bullshit. That kid's great. It's great. 77 right now, 92 earlier. See, 77. I would take 92 right now. I mean, all day long. I'm worried about IATSE striking after Broadway in Las Vegas. It's possible, Mystery Substance 3. I've got a couple of buddies who are in IATSE, and I keep my finger on that pulse as well, because that will more directly affect what I do crew wise, not so much what I do production wise. It does affect what I do production wise, but I have the productions that I run are few and far between. So there's a little bit of, some wiggles. But if IATSE goes, because I generally work crew when I'm not in a film, I generally work crew. So that will affect me. Because there are scabbing rules that we have to make sure we don't break, and we're going to talk about that as well. Skits Crasher for $2 says, we'll come back here. Says, hello, Johnny O. Hello, Skits Crasher. It's always good to see you. Thank you so much for that $2 super chat. I do appreciate it. Yeah, it's going to be a mess. I think what's going to happen with all that, we'll get into that here in a minute, because there's some things I want to talk about that it's crazy. 70 something here, not converting that to Celsius. Sorry, international friends. 70 something, it's 15 if I'm not correct. I'm probably not correct. 15 if I'm not correct. Oh my goodness. You missed North Carolina brisket. No good brisket here in Virginia at all. Well, I would beg to I wouldn't beg to differ, but I would offer that there's no good brisket outside of Texas. Ooh, them's fighting words. I know. Mrs. Cat's gonna throw things at me, and it probably hit me because she's got an arm phone, I understand. I'm not correct. I'll have to do the conversion. It's been so long since I've done. What do you say it was 70 F2C 21? Okay, 21.1. 15 is what, like 52? 59. Okay. I used to be better at that, but then I stopped going to school or math. I stopped taking math in school. That's not true. I graduated, so there you go. Wrong, Johnny. I know. I fixed it. Hey, Factor, good to see you. I will fight on that. I make some. Where are you? Whereabouts are you there? You don't tell me exactly where you are, Pope Phil, because Vanguard shows his life is busy. 6 kids and I have an on-call. Wow, 6 kids. Jesus. What's up, Unclean Hands? 6. I have 4 kids, 3 dogs, and 3 turtles. Commander Darklight, good to see you. Well, at least right now you can just sit a brisket out on the doorstep. Yes, it will, Sandy D. Absolutely. You could just take a full brisket if it weren't for the bugs. Full brisket, to set it outside, hang it up, be great. There we are. No good cheesesteak outside Philadelphia. I have not had a proper Philly cheesesteak. I haven't. Mr. Shorting's Cat, those are fighting words, and you know it. You know those are fighting words. You North Carolina country bumpkins don't know shit about brisket, other than you don't have any good ones in North Carolina. I'm just teasing you. I enjoy barbecue all over the place. I enjoy the different flavors of barbecue wherever you go. Like Memphis barbecue is different than Texas barbecue, than North Carolina barbecue. Now, who can't barbecue? Them fuckers in New York. Sorry if you're in New York, you don't know what barbecue is, but you do other food that is vastly better than what we do here in the States. So there you go. The fact that America never converted to the metric system is empirical evidence that if you put something off long enough, you'll never have to actually do it. This is absolutely true. Excuse me. This is absolutely true. Mr. Andrat, good to see you. No such thing as good brisket. What? Dave. Oh, I'm hurt. There is such thing as bad brisket. Okay. If you cut into your brisket and you don't have juices flowing out and it's not pink, almost red, then you're right that it's bad brisket. You're true. But no, this brisket's awesome. I love brisket. It's got to be done right though. If it's not done right, then it's just chewy and it's not good. And you're like, oh, we got to spend all this money on brisket and it sucks. Love the state of North Carolina, but it's changed a lot since I was last there. I haven't been to North Carolina. I don't think I've ever been to North Carolina. It's one of the few states that I haven't been to in good old United States. Teresa Flaubert, good to see you. Sorry, Teresa Flaubert. We discussed this. It's Flaubert, not Flaubert. Sorry about that. Good evening to you as well. Been to a lot of states in this here union. I have not been to all of them. And North Carolina, South, the Carolinas, I have not been to. I have been to Virginia. I've been to New York briefly, though, not really into New York, but I have been to New York. Mrs. Cat says, "Yeah, it's good all over the place, and I'm not a country bumpkin. I'm Southern City-fied." No, you're not a country bumpkin. Not at all. Not at all. We didn't have to drive out in the middle of a hayfield to go to church. I know what you're all thinking. Johnny in the church. Yeah, that was interesting. I got to say that this previous shoot that I was on, okay, I had never been to the studios that we were going to, right? Somebody had told me about them not a long time ago, told me about them a while ago, saying, hey, it's like, it's like Iraqi town because it's built to look like the Middle East, blah, 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 blah. So I said, cool, that's awesome. I'll go check it out. We got to shoot there. 6 days. Cool. We'll go check it out. I have not been to Miami. I have been to California. I've been to Chicago, but not because that's different. Anyway, so I was going to bring that up, Mr. Schrodinger's cat. I'm glad I got out of there before it got dark, because if I didn't, I'd still be out there. What's up, West Side Girl? Yeah, it's good to see you. So here we are in this play. I don't know if I should use the name of the place or not. I don't think they would appreciate me speaking the way that I'm about to speak of this place. Not that it was bad. I mean, I had a decent experience, but I had never been to this particular studio. The funny thing is, though, I went to school where the studio is located. So I went to school in that area. I'm very familiar with the area. I grew up there back in the late 80s or the early 80s. And it was different. What's up, Rack the Gibber? It was different. No, but actually, no. But I got to say, in 40 years, it hasn't changed. It really hasn't. It's still the same little country bumpkin place. They got a few more houses and whatnot out there, but yeah, it still has an active chapter of we'll call them the bedsheet gang. That's what we'll call them, because I don't know, YouTube is kind of weird about those letters being together, and I can understand. So it is very unusual out there. I generally don't like to go that route because I didn't like it growing up there, and I don't like the bedsheet gang. That's all. So I'm told about this place. It's a little Iraqi town that people like to go out there and use it for like war movies and whatnot, because it looks like it could be in the Middle East. Cool. What's up, Pat Dallinger? I get there, and not only is it not just a little like an Iraqi town thing, they built it to look like first century Jerusalem, because it is like Jesus town. There are Jesus everywhere, and angels and all this stuff. And I thought, oh fuck, I'm about to spontaneously combust. It was interesting. And then it was hot as balls. So we were doing, I can't really talk about the project. I didn't sign an NDA, but they asked that we not talk about the project. But it was an enjoyable project because of the crew. The crew was amazing. The cast was really cool too. So we didn't have any of that, prima donna bullshit. They were all pretty cool. A couple of times they were like, hey, got to be in character. So, and you get that, right? You understand that. Generally, as a crew member, I don't tend to interact with cast unless I absolutely have to. But yeah. And then after, when you're on break or in lunch, or when, at the end of the day, whatever, you cut up with people, it's no big deal. But yeah, it was interesting. It was an interesting place. The location for what it is very cool. They've got all kinds of shit there, and the footage that we got looks really good. I'm looking forward to seeing how it looks. Maybe not necessarily the content of the project, because it's just not my cup of tea. I'm not huge into the religious stuff. It's just me. those of you who are, more power to you. You probably dig the shit out of this. Hopefully it picked up and you'll enjoy it. Because again, the director and the DP and the rest of the crew and even the cast, like I said, everybody did a fantastic job. There was one little guy. I think he was 6 years old. He was playing a young Messiah, and the producers got this genius idea to freeze grapes. I don't know if you've ever had frozen grapes before, but it is the greatest thing. If you're long, you're not allergic to grapes, but it was the greatest thing you could have when it's 1,000 degrees outside. Frozen grapes. I was like, what? Frozen grapes? What the hell? So I took, oh mom, instant cooling off from the inside out. It was great. And then here comes little Messiah to go do his thing. I was like, hey, you want a grape? And he took my grapes and ate them all. And then he found somebody else's grapes on the ground, took those too, and ate those. Like, son of a, I just got jacked by. Mystery Soft Sit Theater says, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the Rust movie Murder. Maybe you spoke about it before, but it doesn't. But it does have to do with you and the strike. Kind of. I have spoke about it. Nicole is not a choking hazard. It's really great. I have spoken about it. I will mention some of the things about that. I don't like what happened here. I'm not as harsh with this one. It's one of those. Look, it's a terrible tragedy. Absolute terrible tragedy. That was 100% avoidable. Should have been avoided from the beginning and never should have happened. Period. Absolutely should never have happened. Safety protocols were broken. People were doing stupid shit. So 100 negligence, absolutely on the producers for certain. Never should have happened. The safety issue there. After what happened with Brandon Lee and what happened with other productions where there were accidents and whatnot, live ammunition should never be on a set, ever, period. Ever. Weapons that are used for production should be production weapons only, and they should never be used outside of production. And I'm talking about not just whilst they're in the commission of a production. I mean, period. If I'm an armorer and I have a plethora of weapons that are used on film sets, those things are going to be used specifically for film sets. I think that should be a rule. It should be a hard rule that they never should have actual live ammunition in them outside of studio or outside of special effects blanks. Either half cartridge, quarter cartridge, full cartridge, blanks, whatever. Never should there ever be live ammunition pass through those barrels, period, ever. And the fact that those firearms were taken off of set to go shoot, not even really off the set, off of the actual scene, just to some dunes. The fact that happened is beyond me. It is beyond. That just boggles my mind. Never should have happened. Absolutely 100% never should have happened. And that shit pisses me off. The fact that it did happen. If there's one thing, I'm a cut up, right? You guys know I'm a cut up. I like to have fun, I like to have a good time and keep the cast and not the cast, but keep the crew loose and whatnot. But there's one thing I do not fuck around with on set ever. I will never fuck around with somebody's safety. Case in point. So we had a Corporate Cornholio brings a great question. Why is there even live ammo on the set in the first place? So absolutely correct. There never should be live ammunition on a set, period. I don't care. Never, ever. If it's like one of those, like Pawn Stars, right? When they go out and test the firearms and whatnot, that's different, right? But that's a very controlled situation. They go out there specifically to fire at a target to make sure a weapon works. I get that, right? But when it comes to a film set, and that's why I say I don't think any firearm that is used for film, for production, should ever have live ammunition in it, period. Should just not happen. Quarter cartridge, full half cartridge, full cartridge, blanks. That's it. Outside of that, no ammunition, no live rounds should ever be in those firearms. Period. You fight me on that all you want. Armors, you can kiss my ass. Anybody who whatever, I don't care. No, kiss my ass. Never should be ever. Anyway, that being said, so we're on set and we're building some, building some rigging for lighting, and then we've got camera and whatnot. But so there's a shot that the director of photography wanted, the cinematographer wanted, this shot where it was coming down from the trees, but where we positioned the camera for the hut that the people were going into. There was no trees there, so we had to build a tree essentially, right? So what we did is we took some very large, what we call mambo stands, which are very heavy, 75 to 80 pounds each, very large stands, and then we clamped some tree limbs, and then what I mean. So here we are clamping tree limbs onto these mambo stands. I've got two mambo stands, and whenever I build something like this, I always shut the set down. I tell everybody, look, if you're not myself, if you're not the gaffer, key grip, or any of the grips, I don't want anybody over here, period. PAs, producers, directors, cinematographers, nobody comes through here while I close this off so I can build it, because I do not want anybody to get hurt on anything that I work on, period. Your safety is always going to be my number one concern, especially when I'm building something like this. So here we are, we were building this thing, and then sure as shit, as soon as I tell the assistant director, the first AD, hey, this is closed, don't want anybody come through here, some fucking idiot walked through there. And I'd be like, hey guys, look, this is your first one. I don't want anybody through here. Okay. I'm gonna ask you nice. The second one, I'm gonna be more forceful. The third one, you guys are fucked. I'm gonna let you have it. And tell the AD, look, I just said I don't want people coming through here because this is dangerous. Mind you, there are only three of us on the G&E teams. There's a gaffer, there's a key grip, myself, and one other grip. So there's only three of us building this damn thing. So we don't have a whole lot of help, which is fine. Just let us do our job, but stay out of the way. People walk through. Second time, somebody comes through, I said, look, I've asked you once, I'm telling you, stay out of here. This is closed. Looked at the AD, I said, look, if you don't close this set off, I'm packing this shit and we're taking off, right? So we get this thing built, two stands, tree limb. The DP comes over and says, hey, I want another tree limb over here because I want it to be bushier. So I've got to run to the truck to grab another giant mambo stand. So I've got this sucker hoisted on my shoulder. Again, these are 75, 90 pounds, big fuckers, right? I'm coming around corners, and as you do, you call points as you come around corners, points, whatever. Don't want to hurt anybody. I got this PA who I'm coming around the corner, mambo stand on my shoulder. He looks at me. I look at him as I'm calling points. I'm walking towards him. He looks at me. I look at him. I'm calling points, and he continues to walk in front of me. Like he takes steps to cross my path, and I fucking lost it. I lost it on this kid. I mean, this kid was probably 19 years old. I got probably the worst dressing down he's ever received, because I don't fuck around when it comes to safety. And when I've asked you once, told you twice, at the third time, yeah, I'm gonna let you have it. Now, hopefully, he'll never forget that. And know that next time, don't fucking be in this guy's way, or don't be in anybody's way when they're calling points, or when they've got heavy shit, or when they're building things, or when I'm told to get out of the way. I don't need to be in the way, because those things can hurt people, and I don't want that. I really don't. Safety is always number one concern. Always. We had the same assistant director. We're upstairs in this 2-story hut type building thing that had, like bare open windows, because it was supposed to be first century Jerusalem. And this big window, and it's hot outside, but we got breeze coming through, and he's standing there kind of sitting on the ledge like, hey, can you take 2 steps to your right and get out of that window for me? And he did. But it's just like safety. I don't want anybody getting hurt. So looping this back to what we're talking about with the rust situation. Yeah, absolutely. You cannot. That means you have in those situations is why little Jesus ate your frozen grapes. Yeah, probably. Looping back to that's again, I will never understand how live ammunition made it to set and that accident happened. That is just gross negligence. But there we are. That's that. I was going to talk about the court losses first with everybody's favorite bowl of stupidity. I can go into the SAG stuff because I'm kind of, we're already on the film stuff. We can talk about that. You guys let me know. 1 for bowl of stupid or 2 for the SAG strike. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Tessa Radio, good to see you. Is that Archangel? Good to see you. Ask, tell, make. Absolutely. UP says hello at all. Good to see you. Good to see you. Feck and Gobshites says Roshin. Yes, absolutely. One, then two. One, lots of twos. Ones. Sounds like a hard job, but fun and interesting. Better than office work, even if there is AC. Look, I've had some very difficult times on sets. That was a difficult time because of the heat, but I wouldn't trade it. Absolutely would not trade it. We need more chili L's. One and two. One, then two. So we can talk about the chili losses and we'll get into the SAG stuff. Is that correct? Did I forget my own list? Did I forget it's one chili and two SAG? Because the chili stuff is going to be really quick because I just don't fucking care about him that much. I just wanted to talk to you guys and get your reactions to him getting his ass fucking handed to him every single time he goes to court. And I know that when he gets around to listening to this, because his name is in the, well, no, he's got court losses. He may not see this one, but 42 says Mr. Andrat. That is true. Chili is number one. Ocean, good to see you, says number two. Yeah, we will definitely talk about all this stuff. We need more chili L's. I agree. Three, pie. Yep, pie. Absolutely. Brian Powell says two. Mr. Andrea, 42, of course. Roshin, two. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. All I'm going to do, I'm going to show one thing. We're going to talk about one thing when it comes to the bowl of stupidity. Commander Darklight says, pie. Robert Ryder says, haven't heard about chili for a while. Anything chili should also be number two. I agree. Are you still convinced that Bud Light didn't make a mistake? Absolutely not. Did not make a mistake. Okay. They didn't make a mistake. People overreacted. That happens. Let's see here. And yeah, Anheuser-Busch stock is still at a 58.63, which yeah, they're doing just fine. I don't think let's take a look at it over the year. Let's see here. Yeah, they're on the way back. They're bouncing back. Yeah, it was at a 6.6. They lost 8 points, but they're coming back. No, they didn't make a mistake. So we're going to get back to it. What am I doing here? I find this to be absolutely hilarious. United States District Court, District of Massachusetts, Jose Maria de Castro versus Joshua Abrams et al., the defendants. In accordance with the court's memorandum and orders dated July 11th, 2023, it is hereby ordered that the above entitled action be and hereby is dismissed. Dismissed. Done. Denied. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Don't collect shit, Jose Maria de Chitro. That's what happens. We all told you this was going to happen. Now, here's the thing, and I know this is something that Abrams and Peter's case were both denied as well. The counterclaims were denied as well. Of course, I don't think they had any illusions that they were going to be heard. Really, I think it was just you know what I mean. So yeah, nothing shocking about all parties being sent home to go whatever. I do think that Chile should be forced to pay restitution for wasting the court's time. Now, I don't know. I was told that this was dismissed with prejudice, but it doesn't say that in this order here. So it was a fart in the wind. Yep. Bud Light does. Yeah. Don't drink Bud Light because of that. Don't drink Bud Light because it's not very good beer. So yeah, my goodness. You gotta love it when Chile loses. And as I understand it, the Las Vegas thing, was also kicked out, and he might be in a little trouble for practicing law without a license. It's something that is taken very seriously in the court systems. Chile taking L's like he takes D's. Yeah, that's true. That is true. And you know what? Look, Chili, if just whatever, dude, come on, man. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Just stop. I know you never stop, but you never stop losing. That's the thing. You never stop losing. It's just should reimburse legal fees and Kate donate to charity? Absolutely. Yeah, for certain. For certain. Isn't Bud Light just water filtered through a jock sock? You know. It wasn't my favorite beverage when I was a drinker. I was more, you know, I was a beer snob. I was. I like good beer. I say that, and then when I didn't have the money to be a beer snob, I drank a lot of Lone Star and PBR. Which, mind you, the reason why I drank Lone Star and PBR is because they were stupid cheap until the yuppies started figuring out, like, this is what happened. Okay. Yuppies walked into a bar, saw guys like me drinking PBR and Lone Star because we're broke and can afford it. They thought it was cool. So they started buying the shit out of it, thus driving the price up. Fuck. I remember being able to walk in and buy a PBR for like $1. And then these yuppies were like, oh, PBR must be good beer. No, it's not good beer. It's shit beer. It tastes like ass. It's gross, but it was cheap until you guys came in and started buying it up. Now, well, at the time, drove it to like $3.50, $4. Like, come on, man. Millennial hipsters, not yuppie. Same shit. Different toilet. Okay. Yeah, it was all of them. It was a yuppies, it was the hipsters, it was the younger kids. Look, and younger kids are being kids. They see grown people do the thing. They look and see like, oh, hey, there's somebody who's older who must know what he's doing. Yeah, saving money. Don't buy it because you see me drinking it because you think I like it. Drinking it because it was cheap. Mr. Fox, good to see you. But yeah, that's it. So Chili. Dude, you got to stop. You got to stop with the frivolous lawsuits. You got to stop with the bullshit. You're just not going to win. You're not. You haven't won a fucking thing. Not a thing. Yes, my beer got gentrified, says Mr. Andret. It's absolutely true. It did get gentrified. But, whatever. It was bound to happen because people drink things and price of shit goes up. But yeah, there you are, Jose. Yeah, the false copyright strikes need to stop as well. That's a YouTube thing, though, and that's where the folks that are affected by it, the content creators and whatnot, should contact YouTube and let them know, hey, this is not cool. We don't appreciate this, because according to YouTube's rules, when somebody hits you with a false DMCA claim, they're supposed to receive the strike on their channel when it comes out that they couldn't do it correctly, right? It was false. They're the ones who are supposed to get the ramifications for that. And they're not doing that, right? Because if they were, then Chili would have been nuked, months ago. PayPal Patty would have been nuked years ago. They just let them do what they do. What's up, Clive Wells? Good to see you. Yeah, but they're federal lawsuits. Chili seems to think that makes them powerful, win or lose. Yeah, he's an idiot. He just likes to hear himself talk. Sun Country. I don't think I ever had a Sun Country. But yeah, Chili, quit it. Just go out and speak your mind and, try and grift for all these fucking pieces of shit that can't seem to keep their own asses out of jail for doing stupid shit. Go right ahead. Continue to do that. And your fucking stupid ass followers will continue to fucking throw money your way, regardless of whether you show receipts or not. I don't know what you're doing with that money. I don't care. I mean, that's between you and your followers. I'm not giving you a fucking thing. Just do your thing. Guinness, Roisin, yes. Although I will say I was more of a Murphy's fan than a Guinness fan. I did like Guinness, don't get me wrong. Most people didn't carry Murphy's, but yeah, I did appreciate a Guinness. Mystery Softset Theater says I'm at 50 false copyright strikes by one per. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Why can he brandish his gun in his shorts, yelling out control and get his channel scrubbed? I don't know. That's the thing. There are a few content creators that I keep in regular contact with. We all have the same complaints, right? Like, why is it okay that you have a video? And this is a real thing. I'm not going to tell you where to find it because I don't want you guys to be Nah, what's up, domestic terror? Good to see you. I don't want you to, like have the brain burn that I have, but there's videos out there of a grown man waxing his, or not just waxing, but using what is that, nair on his ass. And not like, hey, I'm gonna nair my ass really quick. No, he's like, here's my ass. I'm gonna spread my cheeks so you can see how hairy it is, and then I'm gonna use this nair on there. And YouTube's totally fine with that. That's not removed. But you get somebody like Team Skeptic who does a silly dance. They're like, nope, you get a copyright, or no, you get a content strike. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It's insane. I'm just sucking on a Kilkenny, not from a can, though. You heath. Oh no, no. There's nothing wrong with drinking beer from a can. Yes, Schrodinger never lost a copyright claim or strike. Yeah, defeated them all. But yeah, why is it we can see a grown man wax, or essentially wax his own ass, but we can't see Team Skeptic dance? Or we can have I'm curious. Hang on a second. Okay, turn regime. Yeah, you caught me. We can have like naked yoga, but we can't have somebody getting tased without, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Or we can have somebody going out there and advocating for people to self-harm. We've had that with Daniel Pratt, and we've had that with Kent Hovind. Kent Hovind is currently doing that. Telling folks to go out and self-harm. Yet when somebody responds to that, saying, hey, that's not cool, that's not okay, don't do that, you shouldn't be telling people to self-harm, it's the person responding, calling out the bad behavior that gets in trouble, gets a channel demonetized, or gets a copyright strike, or a community guideline strike. That's insane to me. Sandy D, there's another one. We can have Cyrax doing the really weird, sick stuff, and he keeps on going. I don't get it. I just, yeah, why? That's cool, but me saying, hey, you're dumb. Don't do that shit. Tony Regime says, the other guitarist in my band is head brewer at a local brewery, and they make great beers. I love microbreweries when I was drinking. Team Skeptic was wearing a mankini, Clive Wells, but he was covered because the mankini is still thicker than he is. Armageddon's Fire, good to see you. Whereas this guy who was waxing his own ass was like bare ass. He's spreading his cheeks. I just like, what the fuck is this? This is disgusting. Why is this on? My goodness. It would be gross if we were a woman, hey, here's my whoever. Like, why is it okay? Why are we looking at people waxing their asses? And they're like, no, that's cool. We're okay with that. Because there's an educational element there. Nudity is cool as long as the educational element, but whatever, it's so dumb. So silly. Somebody did banana hammocks. Somebody say mankini. Oh no. Oh no. We found the mankini. Oh no. Totally broke my train of thought there. How is streaming content not part of the rating system? It is. So once this goes through some of the algo, then I'll get, usually my lives will get yellow carded, which means limited ads, which is fine. I don't generally run a whole lot of ads in here anyways. I don't run any ads, as you can see. Like, you'll get the pop-up things down at the bottom, but nothing to break the actual thing. I turn those off because whatever. But yeah, they'll get yellow carded, and I'm like, whatever. Sometimes if it's like one that I think is going to get a lot of attention, then I'll ask for a review, and it usually gets taken off, and we're good to go. Most of the time, it's like, I don't give a fuck because it's live stream. Nobody cares. Stroke Assaulter, good to see you, and the Butcher, good to see you. Archangel says, I'm banana hammock. Yikes. But yeah, so that's interesting there, how we can the double standards, the lack of even playing field, right? One can get away with what another one can't. That's not cool with me. I don't think it should be cool with anybody. If it's okay over here, it should be okay over here. I don't think it's okay over here, right? But that's just me. I don't think you should be allowed to say, hey, don't go out there and self-harm. You shouldn't be allowed to say that, right? We want to talk about, well, freedom of speech. Cool, you can have freedom of speech, but that's not something we should be free to say on this platform, because YouTube saying, hey, we don't want that on our platform is not the same thing as a government persecuting you for saying some shit. Corporate Cornholio says no consistency. Yeah, it is very inconsistent. Absolutely. That being said, who wants to talk about this SAG stuff? Who has questions? I'm curious, because I have questions as well, because I'm not a member of SAG. I'm not a member of the WGA, and I'm not a member of IATSE. I'm non-union. I do support what they're asking for. I do support them collectively bargaining and attempting to get what is their due. So, and there's still some things I don't understand, because again, it's not my world. Whereas Texas is not union, we still get union. There's still SAG actors here. There's a SAG chapter in Texas. We don't have IATSE officially here, but we do have members who are people who are members of IATSE inside of Texas. Same thing with WGA. So what does it mean when they go on strike? This is Mr. Extraordinaire's cat. So essentially, when the WGA, which is Writers Guild, when they went on strike, they essentially said, we are not going to write, period. So all the shows that you watch on television, every single one of them, from the news, and I do have to clarify that whereas news reporters are part of SAG, Screen Actors Guild, it's a different type of SAG. So, but essentially what it means is everything, films, television shows, whatever, it all stops. They stop writing. Okay. Same thing with SAG. SAG, Screen Actors Guild. Says Robert Brighter says, can you give a 10-second SAG summary for the non-US people? So basically, Screen Actors Guild. So even non-US folks, people out there's, I forget what it's called overseas. I think it's CR1. I think it's a CR1 or CRI, one of those two. But there are SAG-like unions outside of the States. I think they're all over Europe. I want to know, does this delete Chili's SAG card? I don't think he has one, but yeah. So that's essentially, it's the Screen Actors Guild. It's all the actors who got together. They pay union dues and all that stuff. They get together and decide what they will and will not do. It's a collective bargaining, essentially. I'm sure all of you are familiar with that. You don't need me really explaining that. Mystery Substitute says, I was a member of SAG and IATSE. That's interesting. SAG has the right to express their points. I absolutely agree. Oh, like in Team America. Yeah, kind of like, yeah, Team America. Yeah. Ocean says, I am curious as what they're demanding. I'm so glad you asked, because I do have their list of demands. And there are, so first and foremost, this is what I want to, yeah, SAG, everybody who appears on camera, contract is 20 plus years old. I want to say like the last time they struck was 61, and they've been able to, ever since then, they've been able to successfully, I say successfully, but negotiate contracts. Now, the biggest thing, ACTRA up here, is that what it is in Canada? Probably true. What I will say is that because the business model for the way that people, so really quick, generally speaking, how you get paid in the film industry are going to be on your upfront money and in the back end stuff. So royalties, or we'll call them royalties. The words are slipping the mind right now, but yeah, royalties are good. It's good enough. Royalties are generally what I would call them as a musician. That's what I learned first. But royalties is something different, but residuals. There you go. Residuals, Sandy D. That's the word I'm looking for. They're too close for me, and that's some back medicine going on because my back's all fucked up. But anyway, a reaction channel I watch, and they're also in the industry that will not be reacting to films or TV that are subject to the strike. That's another thing. So many things are going to be affected by this, and it's going to be something that's going to take a long time. Okay. So anyway, back to how they earn. So the residuals, as it pertains to SAG or even the WGA just don't get it. They don't get residuals unless they build that into as a producer, EP, whatever. They individually negotiate some of the stuff, but for the most part, your writers get paid an upfront upfront payment, and that's it. They're done. Boom, go away. And your actors will get royalties, speaking role, residuals, extras. Sure. Yeah. That's probably a better way of looking at it. But your actors will get one of those two, royalties, residuals, based on number of DVD sales, DVD, home video, VHS, etc., ticket sales at the box office, or plays, reruns, syndication, etc. And that's why you'll have actors who will do a television, say The Walking Dead, for instance. They'll get royalty checks or residual checks for years and years and years and years and years in perpetuity. The actors get millions and the writers get a cut. Sometimes it depends, right? So it depends. Some writers make some money, some writers don't, and that's the issue. The issue is, and part of what has changed so drastically has been the streaming. So when Netflix started streaming, you have Disney streaming, you've got Paramount streaming, you've got Amazon, all that shit, all those fuckers that start streaming. And the way that streaming platforms work, I'm Netflix, I go to NBC and I say, hey, NBC, I want to purchase this block of entertainment for my subscription service, right? I'm going to give you a lump sum of money. I'm not going to give you a whole bunch of money. I'm going to give you a lump sum of money. And I want to have this group of television shows, movies, etc., that I'm going to play for X amount of time, for a year, we'll say, right? And after that year's up, we can renegotiate the contract, or I can just let it go away. Now, Netflix, not Netflix specifically, but streaming specifically, streaming services make their money on subscriptions. And that's one of the reasons why you see limited series, or you'll see series that are on Netflix. Like one of the shows that I really enjoyed on Netflix was The Punisher with what's his name? Gosh, John Bernthal. I thought it was a great show. But they got rid of it after 2 seasons because it wasn't getting enough new subscribers when they put out those seasons. And that's how Netflix is going to, that's how they're going to generate. That's how they generate whether or not they want a season to go. Stranger Things got 5 seasons because when Stranger Things comes out, people subscribe to Netflix specifically for Stranger Things. So Stranger Things is Netflix's number one draw when it comes to getting new subscribers, which is how Netflix wants to pay their people. All right, that's not pay their people. It's how Netflix makes their money, right? So you get whatever. If it doesn't have that draw, then they're just going to kill it. We don't want the show anymore. And Fran Drescher, the president of SAG-AFTRA, makes a great point. This is back when she was doing the nanny, they would do 22, 26 episodes a year. So their day players, people who aren't getting the bigger things, but their day players were working longer, so they were making more money. So day players are generally only going to get, people talk about, well, this is one thing that we have to dispel about this whole situation. Everybody thinks about actors. They think about the A-listers. They think about the McConaughey's, the Cruises, the DiCaprios, the Washingtons, etc., who make a lot of money. They do make a lot of money, but we're talking about 5% of all of SAG, all of the actors make stupid money. Everybody else, when they're working, they make, they'll make some decent money, right? $2,000 a day to be a day player sounds like a lot of money. And if somebody put $2,000 $2,000 in my hand right now, I'd be like, thank you very much. It's awesome. But you have to remember, those guys have managers they've got to pay. They've got agents they have to pay. So out of that $2,000, they're probably seeing at best $1,200 from that $2,000 for one day. That's just one day. And most day players are called day players for a reason, because they're needed day by day. And if you have limited seasons where you're only getting, let's say, 10 episodes a season, day player may not be used all 10 of those episodes. Maybe they're only going to be used 2 of those episodes or 3 of those episodes. So they're not going to, and just because you use 3 of those episodes doesn't mean they're going to be shooting for the entire time, right? So let's say it takes a production 4 weeks to shoot 1 episode of The Walking Dead, for instance. Hey, D-Rabbits. So you've got a 4-week episode shoot. You have a day player that comes in, maybe 3-4 days for that because that's all they need him for. Sounds great, right? 4 days at $2,000, $8,000. Take away the fees that they've got to pay for their agents and their managers. Now they're bringing home, I don't know, we'll say probably around $2,800. Maybe not. I'm sorry, $4,800. Sounds like a lot of money, but when it's few and far between, and they're not getting the same residuals. I forget who it was, but there was an actress who was on Netflix's second most popular show. Was that prison show they did? What was that prison show? Gosh. Orange is the New Black. She was in, I think, season 3. She was a series regular. So she was on almost not every episode, but she was on a lot of the episodes. And she showed her residuals, her royalties from that show from Netflix, but they paid her for the long. It was like 25 cents, a quarter. Maybe not a quarter. It was less than $1. It was less than $1, and not just for one episode, for her entire time. That is crazy to me. Whereas somebody who was on a syndicated show like The Nanny, had they done the same type of thing, they would have been making it's not going to be a stupid amount of money. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we're talking about the difference between the less than $1 that this actress made for Orange is the New Black, but maybe $150, $200, something like that. But it comes every so often. It's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. You get enough day players. Mandalorian 4 and literally All Star Wars is a stop until the strike is over. Absolutely. All of those shows, everything, they're done. They're stopped. And I've got to say, the way that I can understand the frustration on SAG-AFTRA, absolutely. AMPTP has not handled this very well. I do find it interesting, and this is tangent number 12. I do find it interesting, though, that the picket lines at NBC, I think it was NBC Studios. Excuse me. Picket lines. NBC had their trees scalped in the middle of summer. Now they say, well, we didn't do it because of the bullshit. That was some petty ass shit. Butchering your own trees. The funniest part about that is they didn't have a permit with the city to do that. That just goes to show you how shitty they're being right now, the AMPTP. You're willing to destroy your own foliage. It's not good to trim those trees at this time of year. It's just not. You could kill your trees. It definitely kills the growth. It's so stupid. It's the same model as the music used to be. Times have changed for the music, not so much in the movie one. It really hasn't changed that much for music either. It still sucks. Spotify is still fucking garbage. I will never, ever, ever subscribe to Spotify. I'll never put myself on Spotify willingly. Some bands that I've been in have elected to put their stuff on Spotify. I wasn't decision makers in that shit. Had they asked me, I would have said, fuck that shit. Do not do it because it is the most ridiculous. Fuck Spotify. Same thing with any other music service that fucks the artist. Spotify, I've probably told the story a few times, but a buddy of mine knew Daryl Abbott he knew Daryl Abbott and Vinnie Paul from Pantera, Damage Plan, etc. And he was sitting with Vinnie Paul at a bar once, and somebody came in, recognized Vinnie Paul, went over to one of those touch tune jukebox machines and played Cowboys from Hell. Look over at Vinnie Paul. I was like, Vinnie Paul looked at him and says, yay. And then turned to my buddy and said, now if I can only get him to play that 100 more times, I might make a nickel. And he wasn't being facetious. He was being serious. It's ridiculous. And that Pantera is one of the biggest bands, at least at the time, one of the biggest metal bands in the States, if not the world. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. I'll never do that shit. Fuck those people. But yeah, that whole business about chopping the trees down is so petty on so many different levels because they're more willing to pay a fine with the city for landscaping that type of job without a permit. They're willing to pay that fine for the permit, but they're not willing to talk with the people with the SAG or with the WGA. That's It's insane. Yeah, it does sound like the YouTube partner program a little bit. YouTube. Oh, Rodent last name, absolutely right. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about as well. Rodent last name says studios have maybe 6 months of content in the can. That's the ticking time bomb. Yeah. So there's Oppenheimer, Brooke, good to see you. Oppenheimer, Barbie, then a couple of other seasons that have already wrapped that they can actually push and promote. After that, there's nothing. There's not going to be anything, right? It's just not going to happen. And this strike is going to last quite some time. And I got to say, as a person who actively works in the film industry, it is a little bit, uh, it's a little bit discerning. It's disconcerting. It's scary over here. I don't know if I can weather 6 months or longer of limited income. So that Summer 7 says, no, I've been on top of the damn ladder for freaking ever and missed the notification. Sad day. Hello. Good to see you. No, it's all right. It's all right. Glad you're here. I've seen that type of play so often in union negotiations. Yeah, it is so shitty to what we're going to do is we're going to make it as uncomfortable as possible. Great for book publishers and sellers. Yeah, the buck a book model. I don't even like that model. The $1 a book. I'm going to sell your book or your record or your movie for $20. I'm going to give you $1 out of that. No, I understand operating costs. I understand you got to pay for marketing, and I get that. I understand that. But at the end of the day, Sony, Warner Brothers, Netflix, they're still making millions and millions and millions of dollars, billions of dollars. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry that's spread over like the top maybe 10, 20 producers or executive producers, studios. It's insane. It's crazy. What does a strike do to nail gun? Well, I don't know because so people who are familiar with unions understand what scabbing is. Now, scabbing is not something that is specific to the film industry. Scabbing is when somebody breaks union lines or works against union interests. So if NBC came to me and said, "Hey, we've got this series we want to do. We want to put you in a starring role." Blah 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 blah. During the strike, not good, right? Not good. No, so last summer, no, absolutely, no. You should not. You're doing the right thing by purchasing the books, by supporting. I got something in my eye. By supporting folks by buying their things. It's probably one of these damn gnats. That's you're doing. You're supposed to do. Hang on a second, folks. I don't want you watching me picking my eye because it's crazy. It's not you. Purchasing the books is what we're supposed to do. Watching the movies, purchasing the movies, the music. That's what we're supposed to do as consumers, right? To support the people that we appreciate. What I don't like about it is the fact that too few of those dollars goes to people who actually created it. The intellectual property goes. They don't get what they're supposed to get. Hey, Otangelo, good to see you. And I think that's crazy. I think it's crazy. I'm not saying that it should be, the buck a book to the publishers. You want to do 50-50, 10 for 10. Okay, cool. But $1, 24, 25 cents for a limited series run? Are you kidding me? It's insane. The model is broken, especially now with streaming, especially now where Netflix and Amazon and Hulu and all these folks, they don't have to release the information specific to this show garnered this many subscriptions. Therefore, based on that, we should pay this. They don't have to release that. All they have to do is show their earnings statement to their shareholders at the quarter and end of the year. Boom, here you are. Here's our earnings statements. That's it. They don't have to release specific information about how well a show is or is not doing. So should SAG and the WGA rail against that? Absolutely. Because these CEOs are still able to get their $50 million, $200 million bonuses. They're able to make a whole shit ton of money. And I don't think what the unions are asking for is that out of line. Like, hey, we want to share in that success, and we'll also share in the failure, right? So yeah, no, I don't expect to get paid for something that doesn't sell, but I do expect to get paid for something that does sell. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And some of the things that the SAG is looking for, right? Okay, here we're gonna go over this. So, do you guys want to see this, or do you want me to just read it to you? Let me know. If you want to see it, I'll put it up. If not, I'll just read it off. But I've got the SAG after proposals. I don't have the WGA ones because I think they're very similar though. I think they're almost in line for line. Let me know if you want to see me put it up. I will. If not, no worries. I can just read them. So basically, what it sounds like is the same as with many things. The times have changed, but the business model hasn't, and studios are refusing to acknowledge that. No, and here's the thing: studios acknowledge it. They just don't give a shit. Like, no, it's changed, but it's sorry for you. Fuck off. The Johnny O should be paid $1 gazillion. I would take a third of a gazillion. I don't even know what a third of a gazillion is, but yeah, I would take that. That would be awesome. I've got a few film projects. They're so. I'm so. By the way, I did release the trailer for the horror short. And we've got some really awesome things that I can't talk about specifically to that. I'll just say some people saw it and were really impressed with the trailer. They were really impressed with the trailer, and we are in talks, which is super exciting. But then again, on the same level, we have to be very careful how we proceed. Now, these people that we're in talks with aren't a part of the AMPTP. It's private, so it's independent filmmaking. So if I have to apply for a whatchamacallit, a waiver, I'm sure will be granted. But yeah, it's so like I said, it was a shot. Just random call from the director Eugene. It's like, hey, got some interesting news, and it was kind of cool. So, like I said, that's all I can say about that. There's not a whole lot going on there that I can talk about. But hopefully, some big things are on the horizon for that specific project. Anyway. Oh yeah, absolutely. If I had $1 gazillion, I would most certainly share. Everybody's invited to the pool party then. Shit. All right, so here we go. SAG after proposals. I'm not going to read all of them because there's quite a bit, but I'm going to highlight some of the bigger ones. The minimums, they want 11% general wage increase in year one, which is in line with inflation and cost of living. 100% agree with that. 4% in year two and 4% in year three. Without an inflation adjusted year one wage increase, members will be working for lower real wages in 2023 than they earn in 2020 and will likely still be working for lower real wages even in 2026. That's true, right? AMPTP countered with 5% in year one, 4% in year two, and 3.5% in year three. So like, yeah, we'll increase it, but it's still going to suck. SAG-AFTRA wants new media revenue sharing, cash share in the revenue generated when their performances are exhibited on streaming platforms. This will allow cast to share in the success of high-performing shows. AMPTP said no. We reject that. Let's see here. Per diem, adjust for inflation, the money that members receive to pay for meals. So whenever you work on something on a show as a day player, you get or even not just a day player, as an actor or writer, you get a per diem, right? That's XYZ amount of money so you can get meals that aren't covered by production whilst you're producing or in production, right? So whenever you show up, right, let's say you're booked for a feature film that has a 30-day schedule. Well, you're not going to shoot all 30 of those days. Not generally. Most of the time you're not. You get some just crazy people that are like, 30 days, shoot 30, yeah, whatever. Most of the time you're not going to, right? You'll shoot 5 days and then off to 6 days off one, and they'll have a schedule. But you're still booked for that time period. And especially if you're on location that's away from your house, your home, you're going to get a per diem to cover your living expenses during those times that you're not being provided for directly from the production, either via the meals they provide you in production, etc. Right? So that's Netflix does cut corners. So that's I think there should be a bit of an increase because cost of things are going up. So $50 today is not the same as $50 30 years ago or 20 years ago. Netflix lost 20 billion today. Good. That's going to get. This is all SAG-AFTRA and the WGA have to do. They just have to wait for one of the AMPTP members to break. Once that one breaks, the rest will fall in suit. It'll happen like dominoes, right? So yeah, per diem, they want an adjustment for inflation on the money that members receive to pay for meals and incidentals when traveling for work. It has not increased since 2021. They increase it. The AMPT pieces will increase it, but not by much. Bo-Katan actress said Mandalorian craft services had the entire budget of Battlestar Galactica. Probably. Scheduled breaks. This is nothing. The parties have tentatively agreed to conform to the minimum payments that performers must receive before their employers can invoke the various schedules under which members lose entitlement to additional payments such as weekly overtime. There was a time where crew members, cast, were not getting breaks. That's not cool. Let's see here. What are some of the highlights? No. There's some interesting ones that let's see here. Background actors, that's a huge one. Improved background actors' wages and working conditions. Background actors are the only category under our agreements who work under different terms on the East Coast than they do in the West. They just flat out rejected that. SAG-AFTRA is seeking for all background actors to be treated equally. They said no. AMPTP said no. Now, the difference between cost of living in New York and cost of living in California is very minimal. It's almost the same, almost identical. In New York, back actors reporting before 6 a.m. should not be forced to wait in unsafe areas for public transportation. I agree. Background actors who have to spend their own time styling their hair and their makeup should be compensated for 1.5 hours of work time. Yes, but the counter offer was $35 flat fee. Individuals required to do double duty, working as both stand-ins and background on the same day, should be compensated 150% of the stand-in rate for the day. That was flat out rejected. $7K a month is livable. Road no last name. That depends. It does depend. And we'll get to that here in a second. So background actors, yeah, there's a lot of things we want based on respect for background actors because again, they don't get paid dick. As a back, you don't get paid anything. Background actors should be paid for each episode they are employed in during a single day. That was rejected. Let's see here. There's some other ones. Any tone, style, genre, period, creative version, character description, accent, or other available information about the project and role should be provided to the performer at the time of audition is requested. They rejected that. I think you should know, right? If I'm going to show up if I just get a side for a project for production and I don't know anything to know about the character other than what's immediately available to me on that side, and I go audition for it, and then like, oh yeah, but we're going to cast you, but here's the thing, there's going to be a grape scene, there's going to be a child exploitation scene that your character is involved in. Maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe as an actor I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So now I've just wasted my time, wasted your time, but they rejected it. No, we're not going to do that. Let's see. Late payment. This one that really, this one here, my goodness. Yeah, no, I get it. Arkansas was idiots. No, 7 crazy. Maybe in Texas, it was $7,000, maybe. Late payment. Increased liquidated damages due to the unacceptable trend of egregiously late payments. They rejected that, though they admitted that their companies consistently pay late. They have stated that they will not pay on time, even with increased penalties. Are you kidding me? Can actors work stage and play work while on strike? Yes, but there are conditions, and I don't want to speak too much on those conditions because I'm still waiting on communication from the SAG-AFTRA strike team. I have some questions myself about productions I've got coming up because I want to make sure that I'm not scabbing. I want to cover all my bases. I don't want Adam Carnover to be yelling at me. Okay, Adam ruins everything. I don't want him to ruin my career. I want to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So there's that. But yeah, studios are notoriously late paying their talent. That's bonkers to me. I did my job. I earned money. Fucking pay me. Like now, and they don't care about the penalties. They'll pay the penalties. I don't understand that. Just pay your people on time. Pay your people. Residuals stop the producer practice of using benefit fund contribution caps as an excuse to keep residuals money that belong to members. They rejected that. So they don't want to pay residuals to their performers. Finally, acknowledge that performance capture is, in fact, a SAG-AFTRA covered category of work. This is a highly skilled form of performance, makes blockbuster projects like Avatar possible. They rejected that. So they're talking about like mocap and stuff like that. They want to get stunt coordinators, better pay, better hours. They want to get them residuals. They're rejecting it. They're trying to play some weird numbers here. Establish minimum terms for performers who narrate productions for blind and low vision viewers. They rejected that, but they're looking for alternate methods for that. AI, establish a comprehensive set of provisions to protect human created work and require informed consent and fair compensation when a digital replica is made of a performer or when the voice, likeness, or performance will be substantially changed using AI. This is a big one. Okay. This is a big one. How many people here remember the show? It was a teeny tiny show called Power Rangers. Okay. The guy who played Zorg was in every fucking episode of Power Rangers. Every single one. His face was in a little tube thing, right? Every single one of them. That guy got paid, I think, like $200 one time. That's it. They just scanned it and continued to use it over and over and over and over again. The Chili Show. No, the show that fired Chili for being a dumbass. Nicody, I have no idea why they don't pay on time. That just boggles my mind because they'll pay. That's what I understand. That's one thing I would think, because there are already penalties that they pay for not paying on time. They just don't do it. The only thing I can think of is that the reason why they don't pay on time is because the money they earn on interest by holding that money in the bank is more than the penalties they pay, which would be one reason why they wouldn't want to increase the penalties, because then it would offset forcing them to have to pay on time. People are already using AI on TikTok. Yeah. So AI is a huge one. They want to take scans of background actors specifically. It's going to really hurt background actors when it comes to that, because they just want to scan them once and use them instead of actually having to hire people, which is fucking bullshit. Meal breaks increase the penalties for not providing meal breaks, which have not been updated since 1961. So they want to penalize, they want to increase the penalties for meal breaks. Now, excuse me, that was rejected. Again, studios don't give a shit about us eating on time. They don't care. We have what we call grace, right? So I think, if I remember correctly, grace is 30 minutes. And again, I'm not SAG, so I could be wrong. I'm not part of any, I'm not unionized at all. Could be wrong, but I think grace is 30 minutes. If I remember correctly, grace is 30 minutes. So what that means is, if we're in a shot, right? Let's say we've got a shot set up and we're in the middle of a take, and we're supposed to break. So we're supposed to take our lunch 6 hours into production. So if we start production, you guys can do math. So we start at noon. Our lunch, our meal break should happen at 6 o'clock. Now at 6 o'clock, we're mid take. Okay. Let's say we started the take at 6 o'clock, or at 5:55, and we're mid take and we're getting the shot, and we don't want to break. We don't because the actors are getting a great performance and the camera's moving the way it's supposed to move. Everything is just flowing really well. We have a grace period, 30 minutes. When you go over that 30 minutes, then there's a penalty. There's a mealtime penalty that is owed to all the cast and crew. They don't care about. They don't want to increase the penalties because they just don't care. They're going to continue to abuse that because they just don't care. They want to increase the penalties for failing to allow performers sufficient rest between work days. They rejected that. Like, no, we're going to abuse our talent. We don't care. You work when we say we work. You jump when we say we jump. Do it. AI is a case of people creating something with no thought to the ramifications, and it's already too late. Maybe. Hey, trans girl. Off-camera stunt performers, SAG-AFTRA's withdrawal proposal required residuals for off-camera stunt reporters, so it was rejected anyways. Non-disclosure agreement. SAG-AFTRA has withdrawn proposal to protect against egregious provisions of non-disclosure agreements. That was rejected. Promotional trailers reject. So there's a couple of things that they were like, nah, whatever, we're not going to do this. Reuse of clips and new media in connection with progress in other areas. SAG-AFTRA has withdrawn that proposal because it was rejected. Unreleased projects, theatrical re-release payment. They're going out different ways. So there's a couple of things that SAG-AFTRA has pulled off the table. But those are some of the big ones, right? Meal breaks, paying on time, AI. Those are like the huge ones. And then, of course, residuals and royalties based on what? How we want to know. We want to know, right? We want to know how many new subscribers did whatever XYZ show that I was on. How many new subscribers did I get? Hulu and Netflix and Amazon. I want to know. I should get a part of that money if I'm part of those shows. That should be part of my pay, part of my compensation, because that's how I make money. Especially seeing as how we're going from what used to be, because a lot of you guys who are guys and girls who are as old as I am or older remember 26 episode seasons. That was a thing. That was just the way it works, right? You get half a year, then it was half a year off. So they could film. They were always, whatever. Can't do it anymore. 10 episodes. That's all you get. So those writers who used to be able to work for 6 months, all of a sudden now they're only working 10 episodes as opposed to 26. So less than half. So now 3 months. So they went from 6 months of wages to down to 3 months of wages. And then they have to wait for another show. 40 plus years ago, SAG-AFTRA never received a payment late. I mean, I don't understand why they don't pay on time. Again, the only thing I can think of is because they want to, the money that, whatever, the money they make in interest in the bank payment from the bank is bigger than the. Trans girl who celebrates 19 members of being a plot hole crew member says, 19 months. What am I doing with my life? You're supporting a content creator who absolutely appreciates every bit of support that I get. I can't thank you all enough. Just hanging out with me, listen to me ramble on about this stuff. I mean, some of you guys are super interested. Some of you just want to hear me with my opinion. I appreciate it. Hang out with me. You want to come in here and make fun of me? Go ahead. That's fine. I get a lot of hate comments. That's great. I like them. What are those actors complaining about? They make millions upon millions of pocket lint. Aaron Rod also celebrates 25 months of Plot Hole Crew membership. Thank you so much, Aaron Rod. I do appreciate that. Aaron Rod, we almost got you in for 11 to 6. We've got some more stuff that are coming up, but again, those schedules are getting kind of weird with what's going on with the union strikes. I hope that we can get that whole situation sorted out very quickly. I think it's going to be a little longer than I'm ready to it's going to be, I think we're looking at 6 months minimum, which optimistically speaking, hopefully January is when this will end, but that's super optimistic. Again, who knows? It's a waiting game. It's a game of chicken. Who's going to cave first? Which AMPTP member is going to cave first? That's what SAG is hoping. That's what the WGA. That's what they're banking on. Now, there are plenty of ways that you can support these union members if you wish. You can find them at SAG-AFTRA-strike.org. If you wish, do your thing. Times are tough. I'm not advocating if you do anything with your money other than what you want to do with it. So that being said, Aaron Rod, I absolutely will let you know, because we got some bigger ones that are in the work. I don't know if you heard about the things I was kind of alluding to. We got some bigger ones that are in the work that I would love to get you on. And I got to get some old dude, got to get his information. I'll go check out his channel, but he is also invited to be a background actor on set, which would be great. I can't wait to get these projects started because it'll be so much fun. I'm going to do that dumb thing again where I hoard my milestone chat for a special occasion, and then it'll expire before I get to it. Well, let it go now. I probably won't be live before it turns over. So, and I will be live after it turns over. So there you go. Go ahead and get it out there. Do it. I like seeing it pop up there. It's the same over here. Some of our actors hardly make any money anymore. They all get cast for streaming services, and they are contemplating going on strike here too. That's okay. So this is where this is getting interesting. I'm glad you brought that up, because when we're talking about worldwide strike, then now we are going to really start seeing these executives in these companies lose money. Because even though Netflix is based here, they still get Korean stuff. They still get European stuff. They still get, Japanese stuff. They go on strike. And they're on strike over here. Now we're talking about just content gone altogether, which is really going to hurt their bottom lines. Really going to hurt their bottom lines. Bring back Blockbuster. Yeah, if I remember correctly, the last Blockbuster is they turned into a bed and breakfast where they had let the store up, how it was set up with all the aisles and the movies and whatnot. But in the center of it, they put in a big, what do you call it? Screen, a big like projection screen, and there's a bed down, so you lay in bed and watch whatever movie they have in there, which is a great idea. I think it's amazing. So last summer, 7 celebrates 5 months of membership. Well, how can I possibly say? Well, come back here. How can I possibly say no to that? Thank you for the endless laughter you provide. Absolutely happy to do it. Thank you for your support. 5 months, 2 months, 25 months. It's all, I appreciate every last bit of it. They're required to make local productions, otherwise they lose their license in Europe. Yes, they need a license in order to be able to sell subscriptions. Good. Get ready for a glut of that. Yes. Well, I know they're not losing money; they're making less money. But if in terms of business, they consider not making as much losing money, which is good. I want them to consider it that way. What's up, Steve? 66464. Get ready for a glut of reality shows. Yeah, golly. Yeah. So here's the thing. You've got people whom have been approached to do shows. We call those scabs. NBC has reached out to a few people, and not just NBC, producers, we'll say AMPTP, people have reached out to other content creators. It's going to happen, right? They're going to reach out to lesser known actors and give them promises of this, that, and the other, and then they're going to reach out to content creators and this, that. It's going to be a thing, right? Don't do it, because once you scab, you get it's like a perma ban. You get blacklisted, and we don't want to see that. We want to see people not. If you want to continue to work after the strike ends, and this strike will end, don't scab, because it's just not a good idea. It's not going to work so well. It's not going to go good for you. There's that Colin kid who was talking about, I'll be a scab. I don't care. Call me a scab. Don't do it, buddy. Just don't do it. You can still work on independent films so long as they don't directly benefit the AMPTP, right? So there are some independent things that I've got lined up that I'm totally cool. Good to go. I can work on them. No big deal. Not have to worry about it. And it's different crew than it is for actors and writers. That being said, I do have projects that could potentially be considered scabbing should I go forward with them right now. That's the reason why I need to talk to the SAG strike team. Struggles Alter, who celebrates 17 months of membership, says, so happy I watch you. I recently got to 560 subscribers. Congratulations. That is awesome. Keep going. Keep doing it. You never know. And then we've got some, let's see here. I think I got one. Wait, I missed something. What did I miss? What did I miss? Oh, no. There it is. Archangel's become a plot hole crew member. Thank you so much. And then gifted 5 memberships as well. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Means the world to me. You guys don't have to send, you don't have to support, you don't have to super chat. I'll interact with you guys regardless, but I really do appreciate when you do. Every little bit helps going into the productions and whatnot. So yeah. Do you know Critical Role? A bunch of voice actors playing D&D. They mainly voice games, but they are on strike too, except for their own production company. Yeah, so you can do independent stuff. And Mark Ruffalo recently said, "Hey, we should get into do more independent things." Anyways, Mark Ruffalo, I'd be more than happy to cast you in anything that I'm putting on, but you got to take the money that I've got, which is none. Yeah, I love older shows and movies. Me too. Me too. So yeah, don't do the scamming thing. Come on, because if that you got to think about it. Really, at the end of the day, the WGA and SAG and whatnot, they're fighting to get people better wages, living wages, being getting paid. And I know that when people hear union, they think, oh, union. Some people like, oh, union is so terrible. Pros and cons to each pros and cons. Okay. If it weren't for unions, we wouldn't have things like the 40-hour work week. We wouldn't have things like, mandatory lunch breaks. We wouldn't have things like not working with 10-year-olds in, whatever. So there you are. Critical Role is the biggest show on Twitch. I don't do Twitch, but yeah. Yeah. Union is socialism. Oh no. Good night, Mrs. Schrodinger's cat. Are you going to sleep? Good night. Have a good one. Sleep tight. Don't let the North Carolina bugs bite. Gosh, that was so stupid. So bad. Now, some of the AMPTP responses have been just egregiously bad. We've already talked about one. We're talking about one where ABC cut down their trees. That's crazy. Just to make it more uncomfortable. Like, we don't want these strike. And then, well, we didn't do it. We were going to do it anyways. No, you weren't. You didn't file for your permits. You guys did it specifically. And the way you butchered these trees, let me see if I can find a picture. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Let me see this. Let's see here. Let's find this. Okay. Let me share this. Let's go back. Let's find a good one. Yeah, this works. Here we go. No, it was NBC. It wasn't Fox. It was NBC. NBC Universal. Okay. No, that's not what I want. Go away. This guy here. Boom. Okay. So let me add that there. We'll go full screen. I said full screen. There we go. And then boom. So here we are here. These are the trees that they decided they wanted to trim unexpectedly. Interestingly enough, all these trees just happen to coincide with the picket lines. Weird. This is what the trees looked like before. I know it's tough to see because, and this is what they look like after. So shade right along the picket lines. Overnight, they come in, chop all these down, no shade. My goodness. But that's not in response at all. We weren't doing that because of the strike. We were doing that because it was time for us to trim the trees. And it wasn't. Those trees should be trimmed in the late fall, early spring to encourage proper growth. So you've got that. Yeah, why did they do that? They did it because they wanted to make the union, or they wanted to make SAG strikers, the strike. They wanted to make them uncomfortable. They want to keep them in direct sunlight to make it hot and uncomfortable for them to do their thing. Now, couple that with the fact that you've got some of the executives from the AMPTP and talking about, well, we're just going to wait them out until they're broke, starving, and have to come back to work. That's your response? Not, you know what? Let's negotiate with these people in good faith. We'll wait them out. We'll starve them out. That's what we're going to do. And this is coming from people who talk about, well, we've got, this is where these are tough times, hard times. We're not making money anymore. We're not making the money we used to make, as they say, from their private jets and their yachts, $1 million country clubs. We're just not making the money, as they give themselves $50 million bonuses, $250 million bonuses. Oh no, we're not making the money. We can't afford it. We can't afford to pay because the money's just not there. Money's not there. Kidding me? Come on, man. Yes, I do think we should be able to collectively bargain against that. Absolutely. So there you are. Transgirl says, heard a story of a background actor who got $50 for a day and had to sign a contract allowing the company to use him for everything in perpetuity for $50. Does not surprise me. That would not surprise me. It seems to fall in line with the business model that the new companies are going towards, or not new companies, these companies are going towards. Streaming has really messed up the original business model. Not that it was super great before, but it's a hell of a lot better than it is now. So yeah, and very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff going on here. I still hope to be able to continue to make. How much did Netflix make from Friends? I don't know, because they don't release those numbers. Netflix won't release show specific subscription numbers. And that's one thing that the union wants. They want transparency when it comes to where the money is, right? So you'll have NBC who says, I'll go to Netflix and sell Friends for X amount of time, for X amount of dollars. And the way the contracts are written up, Courtney Cox and David Schwimmer and all those other guys and girls, they only make money based on syndication replays, because it's always been based on ad revenue, right? NBC plays a show, CBS and ABC and all, they'll play shows based on ad revenue, right? So if I got this show here, I can, ad rev, I can sell whatever. I could sell a 30-second ad for $5 million. So out of that $5 million, that's going to be broken up into whatever, let's say Friends made $5 million for every 30-second ad that was in the 30-minute time slot. Let's say there were 5 ads, right? That's $25 million. Cool. So we'll get, and these are just numbers I'm throwing out, because the real numbers are much larger than that. But Mash 33 says, I work in post sound and I'm not looking forward to a fall season with nothing on my books. Yeah, it's going to get really tough, Mash 33. It's going to get really tough out there for a lot of us who do. I've already started kind of noticing a little bit. It's been an unusual year to begin with. I've had a few projects, been really hustling, trying to get things done so I can, because I got a new business coming up, new production company that I'm working on, and it has been difficult. So yeah, Mash, I absolutely agree. It's interesting. Those trees, something like that here ends up as a works program in New Zealand. Local councils are under an equivalent of your FOIA Act. You could ask for a copy of the work detail leading up to the tree trim. Yeah, Robert, we do know they did not get the proper permits to do that. So yeah. But back to the question about where the money, they won't tell folks. They won't break it down, because they don't have to. They don't have to break it down. Subscription service per. We do know that Netflix makes a lot of money on Stranger Things. It's the number one subscription generating show they've got. It's the only reason why they gave the Duffer Brothers 5 seasons, because somebody made mention that it was their Super Bowl. And it is, because when Stranger Things first came out, it was a huge success. The IRS can't break it down. They can the only thing that Netflix and streaming services have to do is report their earnings. They don't have to break it down per, right? They don't have to say we gained 15 subscribers from this show, 40. We all I have to do is say we for fiscal year 2022, we had an increase of XYZ amount of subscribers. They don't have to break it down per whatchamacallit. As long as those numbers add up, then they're not going to get, the IRS will not get granular with that. So it would be great if they did. That's one thing that the unions want. They want transparency with that stuff. And I absolutely believe that, yeah, absolutely. That model works for one person or for one group of people and one group of people only. And those are the AMPTP. My brother-in-law didn't sign with Netflix because it would mean he would lose all the rights on his own movie. He directed it, produced it, and edited. Yeah, that's another thing that kind of happens. You'll get these, and that's old model, right? So that the music industry was on that model. I think they still are. I ran with a couple different bands, but there was one band that came in shortly after I took a break, the first big break that I took. They were a DFW based band. They managed to get on the Vans Warped Tour. They kind of just snuck on, believe it or not, snuck on the tour, and then they did so well that no management, no nothing, right? They were just doing their own thing. They took care of all the merch sales, etc., etc., etc. They were making some decent money by touring. Well, when they went to sign a contract, the record companies, they had 10 different contracts sent to them by 10 different record companies. They took all of those contracts to their attorney, and the attorney said, well, at this point, it's really just pick your poison because all these contracts suck for you. You're giving up anywhere from 3 to 6 years of your IP. You'll no longer own the name of your band. You'll no longer own the rights to your merchandise. If they say, hey, look, we want to put a t-shirt with you and a teddy bear on it because teddy bears are big, we're going to do that. They were talking about after they signed their contract, they couldn't give their mother a t-shirt. They had to buy their own merchandise. They said, yeah, we were going from making $4,500 a man a night to owing $250 each because they had to pay for this and that and blah, all this stuff. So, yeah, it's insane, right? I said, man, that fucking sucks. He said, yeah, it took a toll on us and we kind of just stopped doing it because it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. We're losing money. Yeah, fuck that. It was so stupid. Yeah, Tony Bennett passed. Yeah, my goodness. My bro put me into music streaming service. Don't know if I should say its name, but they claim to pay the artists and more on Spotify. I mean, if they hasten to sue, they can't pay them much less than Spotify. I guarantee you that. Yeah. Jeez. Oh yeah, all the avatars, they've been put, everything's been pushed. Everything has been pushed. And again, yeah, somebody mentioned earlier, IATSE is next. If they're gonna, I think their contract is up next year. I think 2024 is the end of it, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Saw a docu about the manager of the Backstreet Boys who paid them $250 a week while pocketing millions. Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's insane. They can still work regular jobs though, so they can't really start them out. Well, so here's the thing. Both the WGA and SAG-AFTRA and IATSE, all these guys, they have what they call strike funds that a portion of their union dues go to, and you can donate to those strike funds. And every dollar that gets donated, that's what they say, every dollar that gets donated to the strike funds goes directly to those who need it. So those funds are there to help alleviate some of the monetary stresses these guys will have. But yeah, they could get some non-industry jobs to kind of help bridge the gap. Maybe as a stopgap. But even still, you know what I mean? It's hey Tim Hicks, good to see you. It's going to be interesting. Pimps don't even take that large of a cut, says wrote no last name. That's true. They don't. So that's kind of where where I'm at with this whole thing. It's kind of I am kind of worried. I gotta be honest with you. I am kind of worried about what's going to happen. Simply because this is the industry that I'm in. So if it filters down to Vegas, it's going to suck. It's eventually going to get there. Eventually, right? Everywhere is going to be affected by this. The longer this goes, the more everybody's going to be affected, and we'll notice this in a lot of different things. So it's going to all fall on which one of the AMPTP companies breaks first. Whereas the AMPTP, they are an alliance. They're still competition. They still compete with each other. So eventually NBC or CBS or Warner Brothers or Paramount, they're gonna be like, you know what? Let's go ahead and negotiate. Let's get our deal in now. We'll be the first to get our deal in because our deal will be the best deal for us. But if we wait, then somebody else is going to be, they're going to get the worst deal. So once that first one happens, all the others are going to fucking scramble and, oh man, we got to get to the table. We got to negotiate, because if we don't, then we're going to get screwed. So that's what's going to happen. We just need one. Once that happens, they'll get it figured out. Wait until the Renaissance Fair actors go on strike. That's true. And that's another thing, right? So all of your cons, they're not going to have any of your favorite writers, not going to have any writers, not going to have any actors, any performers, not going to be there. They can't promote their stuff. Not right now. Not while they're on strike. So cons are going to, it's going to have lasting effects, big ramifications. Hope you put in for revenue in the, you got to, yeah. So whenever it's tough, right? Revenue sharing is, you got to do revenue sharing if you, and that's kind of one of the things that they want to get. They want to get some revenue sharing, but we'll see what happens. I hope they get a decent deal. Do I think that SAG and WG are going to get what all the things they want? Absolutely not. No, they're not going to. Right? You have to compromise, and it's a whole thing where you ask for the world, understanding that you're not going to get the world, but the closer you get to that world, if you can get somewhere just on this side of that world, then you're doing good. Yeah, some cosplayers, yeah, I saw that as well. Some cosplayers are standing in solidarity as well. Archangel says, if you haven't hit that like, do it now. I would appreciate that. Absolutely. I do have more likes than I have concurrent viewers, so thank you so much. Wait till AI gets a little more advanced and they create 100% fictional actors characters. Yeah. Here's the thing. Right now, as it stands, yes, you can go to Chat GPT and generate a script. Is it going to be a good script? No. Is it going to be something you can take as a skeleton and then make better? Probably. It's just not going to do it. That's negotiating, right? You ask for way more than you need in order to get what you want. Exactly. That's like textbook negotiation. As long as it's not third world, says Facty. Well, might be second world. First world problem. I know it sounds like first world problems, but this is how some of us pay our bills and our livelihoods and whatnot. But that being said, it's been almost 2 hours. You guys have listened to me babble on for almost 2 hours, and I appreciate every single one of you who are still here. Every single one of you. Yeah, the strike is going to have huge ramifications the longer this goes. Big time. Yeah. My granddaughter hasn't figured out that aspect of negotiating yet. Don't worry, Cindy Sue. She'll figure it out. And if she doesn't, well, that's good for you, because then you can offer her 1 Werther's as opposed to 12. That being said, it's time for me to get out of here. I've got some, kiddos, and my wife, she's upstairs. She's got an ear infection. So poor lady. She's been a real trooper, though. She's resting now, which I've been trying to get her to do for a couple of days. Speaking of Babylon 5 Blu-ray on the way. What? I remember Babylon 5 was a good show. It was a really good show. It was fun. That being said, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I will get more things out sooner, I hope. Thank you all. You guys rock. Don't forget to hit that like button, share, go check out the stuff. Go check out the trailer on the Insomniac Films. Hey, gosh, Fire. Go check out the Insomniac Films channel for the 11 to 6 trailer. Leave us a comment over there. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'd appreciate it. You guys are awesome. We'll see you next time. Love you all. Cheers.